coming at you from Scratchin Wolf Studio. It's time again to rage across the internet. Your very favorite Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Porter. Sitting to my left, we've got the man, Daniel Tyson.
Hey, everybody.
Across from me, the enigma, the contradiction, the mystery, Tommy Dixon.
What's up, guys?
How we doing, gentlemen?
We're great.
We are great. You know why?
Because it's recording day.
Because it's episode 100.
Oh,
Ooh,
shit.
milestone.
Yep.
That is a fucking milestone.
I forgot we're doing this. Yeah, this is 100. Holy hell.
And shockingly, we're making good on some promises.
Okay.
That weird thing Danny just did.
Right.
That wasn't a promise. That's just a thing.
Yeah, it's just
That we have to
I don't
live
know
with
who he
now.
was calling, but
Fucking Aquaman, Cthulhu.
Yes.
I'm assuming it's something aquatic based.
okay, that makes sense.
What?
It's just what's in my heart.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's just
fine.
what he wanted to go with.
Fine.
But here it is, folks. 50 episodes ago.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's a statement.
Yeah.
You want to think about that for a second. That's probably like fucking 75 hours worth of content ago.
Roughly?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But back then, we did Thunderdome, where we had Danny and Tom debate the Litany.
As Philodox and Ragabesh.
That is absolutely true. And we said something then that come 100, there would be another debate.
Oh.
And
I don't get to apologize for this one because I have nothing to be sorry for.
You soon will be.
you say that now.
I say it.
But so here we are, 100, and we're making good on that.
Look at us following through with our promise.
Like for once.
We followed through. It just sometimes takes a lot longer.
Yeah, you should stay tuned for the finish, the conclusion of our Earthblood playthrough coming 2036.
With Carl.
I had to bring that one up.
Carl's Revenge, man. All right. But so when we were talking, I mean, obviously the idea was I would be, we'd give you guys a rest for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would be debating. And when it comes to debating,
Yeah.
there's...
Don't make me say it.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you. I'm not going to say shit. What I am going to say is that, we've had plenty of good friends come on this podcast over the years, which we can say now over the years.
Shit, yeah.
Melissa and TC and Grant, Kaysen, our buddy Johnny Strides. I mean, there's been a lot of great people on here, part of our extended family. And
Yes.
we love all of them. But for me,
For you.
there was only one name that was in contention for this. There wasn't a second choice.
Okay.
The guy we're bringing out, he is one of our very first supporters. He has had our back just about since day one. I consider him a good friend, and a good friend that I have argued with
Yes, you have.
a couple hundred times, easily.
At least, yeah.
It's a friendship from arguing.
It is. Just violent, angry arguments. And yet we've always managed to stay friends.
Of course.
Despite our differences. It's always been great. And so there was no one else I would rather have on here to debate the litany with me today than our good buddy, Karybdhus Jenkins. Karybdhus, welcome back to the show.
I'm honored to be back again.
You were
And
scared
we
about that.
didn't, there was never blood between us.
No.
I mean, okay, about,
Well, that's
there's
'cause
Atlantic between us, so
The Atlantic
that
is
helps.
Karybdhus is quite far away for there actual to be blood.
Well, we could try, I guess.
The episode just started.
Well, the good thing is, if you need a punching ball, you have Danny and Tom right away beside you, right?
Yep.
He's
Yeah, close enough.
He's
Just out of reach.
So Danny's safe. Tom's on the other side of the table. I ain't putting that kind of effort in.
Yeah, but you also have you have some objects you could throw if possible.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, don't tell him that.
He's not throwing at me with the computer here.
He could.
No, just overhit, like that. Just bounce it off your head.
Okay.
I'm afraid now.
No, but you and I think Karybdhus, we have debated about all sorts of issues all around the world of darkness and beyond. And,
Oh yeah, hell, we did. We had some nasty discussions, I guess.
Oh, yeah. But again, and I think I'm only speaking for myself, but I'm sure you agree that we've always been able to just kind of laugh it off, shake hands, and all's good.
Oh, obviously. So one of the big things we have is the ability to agree to disagree.
Which I disagree with because I hate that fucking sin. But so we're off to a good start.
Oh boy.
Okay. No, so we always have the ability to have different opinions and still moving on and not needing to convince the other one that he's not a fucking moron and we are, of course, right in everything we say.
I like how that was phrased, on the other hand. So
That was better.
yeah, that's a lot better.
It's a nice, polite way of saying, I'm right all the time and you suck. I'm just not being mean about it.
I'm right and you're an idiot, but you're an idiot, so you don't see that. So here we are. That'll sum it up, yeah?
Yeah, and I can't see failure in that.
This is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. So, those of you playing the home game, if we don't know how this is going to go, but if it sounds like it's getting a little rough and maybe a little... It's not, it's fine.
Yeah, we
Putting up
survived.
that warning now.
Yeah.
Firstly.
Everyone has given full consent of what's about to happen.
Waivers have been signed.
Everyone's got their cup. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. I don't like how we had to give that first.
You have not heard our arguments in private.
No.
No.
I've heard of them. I haven't been there when they've happened.
They're in private for a reason.
Yes.
Stuff can't hit the air.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Quite often, actually.
So we are.
But it's fine. We're still good.
Oh, absolutely. Again, like I said, there's no. You were my first and only choice for this episode, so I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, because he definitely
I'm
wasn't
very
debating us.
No.
What would be the point?
You'd win.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Even if it was me and you versus Porter.
And we had all the time in the world to come up with something. He'd still win.
What I like here is you don't hear any arguments from Karybdhus on that issue.
Well, no, of course not. Why would he argue that?
Yeah, once you're right, and I'm not arguing about that.
See, there we go.
Hey, at least he agreed with me.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the vote of confidence.
That might be
It might have been the only and the first time of your life, right?
Right?
Yeah, it's certainly the only agreeing that's going to happen during this episode, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure, yes.
All right, well, let's have some fun. Because it is me versus Karybdhus. We're going to hand this over to Daniel Tyson at MC. Danny, what are we doing and what are the rules?
All right, so what we're going to do here, we're going to read off the tenet of the litany, and then Tom is going to decide who is debating which side of that
Who's for
argument.
the litany or who's against it?
Okay. And then the next tenet, we'll switch it up, or I guess
Keep the same. It's up to me.
that's up to Tom.
Tom is our fucking chaos factor here, which prevents us from doing any actual prep work or research.
So it makes this fun.
Exactly.
And also, because of that, I guess we're not really keeping score.
Oh no, I got score down. I'm ready.
Oh, you are keeping
I am ready
score.
to keep score because me and you will judge at the end when both of them have exhausted everything they can say, and we will vote who has won that portion between me and you.
I was going to say, but if we're going to wait till they've exhausted everything they can say, we'll be here for 3 days.
That's fine. Get ready for a long episode, guys.
Honestly, I was going to make the same comment. So
I've
stop
seen
them
the
when-
arguments.
We'll stop them when we've
Yeah,
heard
that's kind of
enough.
what she said.
Oh, there we go.
All right, starting off early.
excellent.
Punch 1.
Point for Karybdhus.
Motherfucker.
All right, the first tenet of the litany. Garu shall not mate with Garu.
Karybdhus, you lead off, and you are for this litany.
Oh, fuck you.
Ooh, yay. I like that response.
Yeah, I mean, it's fitting, right? So,
Danny already.
yeah, we just wait for Danny not to die off, right?
Yep. Yes, please wait. Thank you. Thank you for waiting.
You know that I hate that tenant.
That's kind of why I chose it this way. I know you do.
Yeah, I of course it was. I know.
Well, I can switch it then if you can't come up with something.
Oh, no.
What is this, the mercy rule for the foreign kid?
Oh boy.
Take your time.
Okay, no. I'm just waiting for Danny not to die.
Oh,
Is
he's
he
done.
okay?
He's
No,
done.
I'm ready. You go for it.
Oh, you're done. Okay. Okay, so Garu shall not mate with Garu is obviously the right thing because of, you know what, the fucking Metis. They are there. They are the prime example why you should follow the Litany. If a Garu mates with another Garu, there will be some worm offspring that is basically sullying his whole ancestry. And not only should the Metis be put to death, but also the parents who started it.
That's pretty harsh right off the bat.
Rebuttal.
The parents and the child should be put to death. What kind of monster are you? The fact of the matter is, the apocalypse is nigh. There's no doubt that it's going to happen within this generation. We need every warrior we can get. Not only from a Metis, who, I remind you, changes at an earlier age, who is raised in the nation, so has a deeper connection to Gaia, to the rest of the nation, to accept, has a better understanding of spirits in the Garu way, but also to suggest that we kill the parents. That's 2 more soldiers off our front line. What is it?
That's 2 soldiers that obviously can't follow the simplest order not to fuck their buddy.
Hey, you know what? They can fight, they can kill. And if nothing else, they can be meat shields. We need every hand we can get. You know, and you talk about worm. Yeah, you know what? There are metis that fall to the worm on occasion. There are homids and lupus that fall to the worm on occasion. But the fact of the matter is, maybe it's our treatment of those metis that result in that. If we could get over ourselves and our antiquated bullshit and realize that the time for future generations, that is not our concern right now. Maybe we should be pumping out shock troops to get us through the end days. You know, when those end days are done, then we can revisit the subject. But for crying out loud.
So what you're saying is you want to feed the beast of war all the blood at once, right? You want to create cheap shock troops just to die on the battlefield. Children which are horrible, disfigured, can't hold their own mind together. Children that will most probably kill their mother while birth. So that's anyway 1 warrior down.
So you want to just double that number just cause, right? Because of a rule that came about, how many fucking eons ago? That's lunacy. In fact, lunacy, Aunt Luna would probably agree with your stance. You know,
which she should,
as stable as she is.
Loving this already.
Yes. Awesome episode.
You know, you talk about it, suddenly every Metis is just some quadriplegic fish out of water just flopping around waiting to dance the spiral. Or hop the spiral, as the case may be. You know, that's insane. There is a list of plenty of fine warriors for Gaia that happen to be Metis. Look at names like Banana Split or Bjorn Blood from Stone. Bjorn Blood from Stone is cooler than 4 of you combined, and you just want to fucking throw him in a trash grinder?
He probably would have wanted that as well.
I think he is probably happily in the Umbra doing something rad right now. But neither here nor there. We are in a position, we are losing this war. We have to do things differently. Clinging to the old ways just because it's the old ways is ridiculous. And when we are in a position, when our back is to the wall, when the end time is coming, that you tell me that we can mass produce soldiers to help maybe win this war and have a chance for the future, and you're saying no, because once upon a time, it was the wrong thing to do.
If it would only be once upon a time the wrong thing to do, why are there Metis in the first place? Surely Gaia had a reason why she made it. She didn't did that with the Naga. The whole difference, Naga are expected to mate with each other. No, it's in the werewolves where the Metis is the problem. And don't you think that Gaia and her wisdom did something right about that? Maybe since you put up some very good names, of course, there can be heroes. But what about asking Thunderroar about that? Because Thunderroar was definitely on my side here. He basically, from his early age on, was so full of rage, so fitted, he started to kill off his own. And he made his role of a Thunderdome great, sure, while he's going out killing Metis for the pure travesty they are just for existing.
Well, that kind of sounds like sorts of Heimdall talk to me.
Oh. You're just saying that because I'm German.
Pulls the race card or we're ready. Wow!
First tenant.
All right, Tom. We're going to let him keep going, or we're going to the next one?
I think we can go to the next one.
All right.
Are we silent voting?
Well, you're the one voting, so...
Oh, no, it's me and you.
Yes.
We're silent voting?
Silent voting on
Okay,
that one.
we'll silent vote that one.
All right.
Didn't even come to the part where it's because we don't want to lose the connection to our kinfolk.
You probably should have led with that.
I might have, but I didn't, because there are different reasons, and actually I'm totally against this fucking
All right. Combat the worm wherever it dwells and whenever it breeds.
Porter, lead us off. You are for this one.
All right. Obviously, this is a tenet that should be followed to the letter. We are Gaia's fangs. It is our job to protect her interests, to ensure that there is a future, and to fight back the apocalypse. And we certainly can't do that sitting in our hands and playing kumbaya like some tribes would like to suggest.
That was a deep cut.
Hey,
Now,
He didn't say any tribe. He just said some
tribes. Now, sure, there are plenty of sources of evil and corruption in the world, but the Garu is the Garu nation. We are uniquely suited to take care of those worm hives, the banes in the deep dark, the things that are crawling out, the things that the humans can't comprehend, to allow them to just run rampant because we decide, or because maybe it's hard, or that violence is mean, is simply doing the worm's work for it.
so you want to end doing the worm's work by doing the worm's work and destroying everything and pulling it apart because you don't understand it?
Well, certainly nothing in nature destroys other things, right?
Oh, yeah, that's why there are volcanoes and twisters and stuff like that. And that's why the worm is part of the tribe. Once we tackle this tenet, we first have to ask us, okay, which worm? Are we talking about the worm of balance? Should the worm be eradicated from the get-go?
Well, if you were familiar with the tenet even in the slightest, you would know that it's talking about the worm as it has been corrupted. It's weird
No,
you
it
didn't
doesn't.
know
It
that.
says, you shall battle the worm wherever it breeds, wherever it will. That's the worm. That's not aspects of the worm. That's the whole worm. So basically, Garu should destroy destruction, which is a paradox in itself. And even if we're talking about the worm of corruption, while I wouldn't even disagree with that one, because yes, you should destroy the worm of corruption.
Well, there we go then. You don't disagree.
Yeah,
I want to
but
thank you for helping
what-
me with
no.
that point, that you do not disagree that we need to stop the worm of corruption and its minions that are actively trying to destroy all of Gaia. I mean, thanks.
You are right, but that's
I know. Thank you.
No, that's the thing. We don't agree. We agree on the part that the worm of corruption has to be stopped, but we don't agree on the way how to do it.
So, but we're not
Maybe
talking about how right now. We're talking about whether or not we should let the minions of the worm continue to breed and fester and attack things. And you seem to be pro that, except when you agree with me, which you just said you did 2 or 3 times.
I did, yes, and still I don't. You know, that's me becoming the glasswalker I'm going to be, because sometimes you have to withdraw from a battle to win the war in the old time. And the problem with this tenet is not that the worm and the worm of corruption has to be stopped, it's the absolutism in it. It's a problem of wherever it dwells, wherever it is. You can't destroy destruction. That's just not possible. You have to have the worm there. Without the worm, there is no balance. Without the worm, there is nothing for the wild to create in the first place.
Well,
Yes, the worm today is corrupted. Yes, the worm today is crazy. But maybe the worm itself is not a problem. So there comes the question, okay, where does this tenet actually come from?
Well,
So was the worm the problem from the get-go?
well, we
or
could
is it
argue
just-
with the weaver or the worm, and I mean, that's a different discussion.
That is actually a good discussion on maybe we should switch the focus to what's the real problem.
Well, if we're talking about adding tenants, that's a different discussion as well, but there's no denying that the worm is a problem. You look at the Black Spiral Dancers, look at Rampant Femora, look at the Dealings of Pentax. You know, and that's just to pull 3 things. We can go deep cuts, we can pull some other weird shit, we could talk about the False Window, we could talk about Spearfinger, and all the other worm creatures and corrupted things that have happened over the years, the idea to ignore this tenant, I mean, what would have happened if the Croton had listened to you and just stood by while the Eater of Souls ran rampant over the Pure Lands? What about them?
Uktena, great Uktena herself is a worm spirit. Once coming into creation, Uktena was a spirit of the worm. Shall we destroy Uktena then?
Well, that was a different worm in of itself. That was before what happened. The worm got corrupted, and Uktena, they stayed on the right side. But while we're bringing them up, you look at the Bane Tenders, who, yes, do not necessarily destroy these Banes, but seal them and confine them. You talk about destroying destruction, that's still taking them off the board, honoring that tenet of the Litany, without necessarily destroying. So I guess, again, what's your argument? I mean, I guess we go back to the part where you said I was right.
Actually, yeah, we could go back to that one, because the main problem here is the art, is the way how to battle the worm. Destroying it just for the sake of destruction is just doing the worm's work for him. And Garu, in the ages, are pretty good at actually feeding the worm instead of beating it.
Yeah, but to what extent? Certainly, you could argue that there have been events that would feed, say, the Beast of War, or smaller scale things. Certainly. It's about scale at that point. Is the worm getting their full course, their 12-course meal, or, thanks to Garu action, he just gets the fucking little soup sampler or some bullshit. Right? It's the small meal, it's the thing that helps. Good.
Maybe that actually is the thing that helps. Maybe that's what we actually would need.
Is a soup sampler?
Battle the worm, to battle the worm, not to destroy all the bad stuff, but actually to create something good.
Well, the worm can't create. That's not its job.
No, but that could be the job of the Garu. That's why sometimes it's better to take a step back. Look, okay, what does this community need here? Do they really need to be leveled down onto Earth level, or do they actually need some people in there to build up a community for them to help them fighting whatever corruption is beating them up?
Well, I think what they need is to not be murdered by Black Spiral Dancers. I think that's probably the immediate solution.
Yeah, it's better to get murdered by God Offenders or Red Helens.
That's...
That's a different story. But I think we'll move on from
maybe
there,
maybe ask the people that are dead about that.
You can do that because you have Thurges out there that can speak to spirits because they are fighting the worm and not being murdered by the worm's minions. Because we combat the worm wherever it dwells and whenever it breeds.
I think we're going in a little bit of a circle here, so we might have to move on.
Yeah, we're going.
Yep, we're going to move on.
You go give your vote, then let's move on.
Hey, keep admitting I'm right during these. That was fun.
What is the next one?
That's basically because you're right.
All right.
Now, even if you go for the Children of Gaia standpoint, it's still a way of beating the worm. It's a way about the how, not about the that.
I mean, I see where he's going with it. Yeah,
I did too.
I know where he's going with it. Yeah, sir. But I had a stance I'm here to argue.
All right. Well, then we're going to pick another stance. Respect the territory of another. Tom, who is Philodox, and who is Ragabash.
Ooh, this is a good one. Let's have Karybdhus go for this one.
Busted.
Okay. Yeah, busted. I would totally have going for fuck those that can't hold their own territory.
That's not even going to be my stance, but go for it, man.
That's fine. Tom can understand that because the Fianna are pretty much like that, right?
Yep. Deep cut.
I was hoping someone's going to bring it up.
Good old get a Fianna.
Get a Fianna.
Okay. So, respect the territory of another is, of course, an important thing. What are the Garu? At the end of the day, the Garu are the Fangs of Gaia. They are an army, and what is an army that does not follow orders, does not follow control? They can't be in total chaos and an annihilation of each other all the time. There are times of peace, and there are times you can challenge people for their territory, for the leadership of a tribe, of a cairn, of a pack, but always do it with respect. Without respect, you're just creatures. You're just Black Spiral Dancers killing each other off all the time. Also, what good does it bring in weaken Gaia's warriors? We had the discussion in the Metis before, right? Why put them on the stake or killing 2, possibly 3 warriors of Gaia just because, hey, little Lieutenant Karen here looks a bit weak, that's why we, the Windbringers, come in and slaughter you.
I mean, that's a whole lot of different things you threw out there. And I mean, I do want to point at respect, and that's an interesting point. You know, much like how King Morningkill respected his court by throwing everyone even remotely competent out on their asses. The problem with this tenant is that we don't live in 18 Diggity 4 anymore. We are fighting this battle not only in the Umbra and in the wild places, but in the cities. A place where a howl of announcement in the middle of Boston is not going to fly. We still have the Vale to consider. What about instances of doing your job, fighting the worm? We're supposed to stop and break off and let the enemy get away because it's not our jurisdiction anymore? You know, we crossed Main Street, now that's Bonar territory, so we gotta respect it. Everyone go home. Just let the worm... I mean, you might as well just not, fight the worm wherever it dwells and whenever it breeds. I mean, that kind of lunacy.
Tom's over there dying.
It's simply it's not practical on the day-to-day. If we're talking about a mission of diplomacy or something, or between cairns with decent ties, certainly maybe even a phone call could suffice. But practical application on the day, when you're in the dirt, doing your job, there's no time for that shit. I mean, you think about Jonas Albrecht and Mari Karba. You think of the fucking shitstorm they started because he walked down the wrong side of the street one day. He wasn't a threat to anyone. He was just going to be a drunk idiot Silver Fang. And now we have that fight through every rulebook page. I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm just saying, I don't think you have to put the drunk idiot in front of it.
No, he wasn't nobody yet. He was still the drunk idiot face. He was still post-exile sleeping on a park bench in Central Park. I stand by drunk idiot. But let's pop open, it's not related, let's pop open the Comica of 2nd edition, where his first appearance is him dropping a bottle of booze because Evan bumped into him.
Yeah, you're right.
That guy's like 4 Tony Starks.
The things you say, you are right, to a degree again, but only to the degree of saying, okay, we can't do this right now, because right now we have to battle the worm. But of course, after the battle, you can go to the one who's leading the area, is the head of the cairn. You can go to the water and go to them and put the hatchet back in the earth. You can tell them, look, this was the problem. We would have called, but we couldn't. So we had to take care of this problem. Hope you enjoy.
Certainly you can. And, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Courtesy is a good thing. It didn't just die. I know society argues, but courtesy didn't just die. That's a good point. However, we're still talking about that practical application. There are so many instances of cairns battling or tribal irritations exacerbated by something like this, when all the while we could be, and maybe should be, stepping back and going, look, once again the end times are here. We are living in a new world where everyone has a fucking camera and there are eyes everywhere. And then maybe we can just understand that sometimes someone's accidentally going to step on somebody's toe, and that's going to be okay.
Certainly that's okay. And once he stepped on your toes, you can make replications about it. He can say, yeah, there was a problem. Here is whatever small fetish or trophy of our fight. And because you are the one in the highest station here, because this is your station, of course you can pick the first of the loot.
Well, see, at that point now, that almost sounds like, here, let me pay you off because I was doing my fucking job. What we should be hearing is, thanks for the assist. Or, hey, no big deal, you were down Main Street, that's fine. You weren't attacking, you were doing your job. Not, hey, you were doing your job on my territory, so give me something. What the fuck is that?
I'd love to keep on this one, but we're kind
of bleeding into another tenant there.
Yeah.
We kind of bleeding in, and I was holding me so hard back, but yeah, that's pretty American of you.
Very American of you.
Do you mean victorious? Because you said I was right again.
Almost another spit take at a time. All right, we're moving on.
Yeah, let's move on.
We're only gonna get. Still got 10 more to go here, guys.
Things are just getting heated.
Or 11, sorry. Whatever. Accept an honorable surrender.
40 or 4 this one.
Okay. I don't know if you guys were aware, but the apocalypse is coming. And
It already happened.
allegedly, but did it? I don't see no W5, and we're not talking about that today.
Okay. I'll shut up. This isn't my battle.
Like, you want a piece of me too, damn it?
Yeah, respect this territory, Tom.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, the apocalypse is nigh, and there aren't a whole lot of Garu. Now, the Garu Nation has a long history of being stubborn and beating their heads against the wall and beating each other's heads against the wall.
I don't know what he's talking
over
about.
truly minor shit. I mean, also some major shit, but really minor shit sometimes. You know, the nature of the reincarnation in their past lives can make minor slights become centuries-long family grudges. And in so many times, combat is a way things are settled. Be that a small ritual combat, you know, in the safety of a cairn, under the eye of a master of the challenge, or large sept versus sept brawls over who stole the last glass of fucking punch 300 years ago. How is this relevant is with those dwindling numbers, with the end coming so soon, we have to understand and get over our shit. We have to accept the honorable surrender to save our numbers, because we need every single soldier we have. In fact, we need more of them, which is a callback to another thing.
You know, can a surrender actually be honorable?
Well, absolutely. We're not talking...
Look at it. You lost. That's like, okay, look, we are just rolling ourselves on our back. Just do it. We are honorable, you know? We are just giving up.
Well, that's not...
How that can be in any case be an honorable thing? You lost. There is no such thing as an honorable losing.
There's
battling
no
the
such
war.
thing as an honorable loss.
You are already...
I want you to confirm that, sir.
What?
You just said there's no such thing as an honorable loss.
No, you're losing. What kind of people would think losing is something honorable to do?
Well, losing is a thing that happens half the time.
Yeah, that doesn't make it better.
Half of every conflict is a loss.
Yeah, but it should be on the side of the other one.
Well, we can't always control which side.
Look,
but there's a difference between going, I lost, I'm taking my ball and going home. I'm calling my mommy. I'm punching you in the throat because you beat me at tic-tac-toe. That's how I chose to say that. Or extending your hand and saying, good game, sir. There's honor in that, certainly.
Yeah, if it's just a game for you, then you could say that.
Well, Werewolf is just a game.
Maybe you haven't realized, maybe you've forgotten it, I'm not sure, but you know what? This is the apocalypse.
Well, it certainly
and you can't actually lose the apocalypse and think something, you know, shake hands with the worm. You know what? That was a good thing, Black Spiral Dancer.
But I'm not talking
next
about
time.
Shaking hands with the worm. It didn't even have thumbs. But
I'm not sure about how many incarnations of the worm might have thumbs, actually.
But you know, we're not talking about the battle against Magoma, the Black Spiral Dancer. There's nothing honorable about a Black Spiral Dancer. That's not an honorable surrender. That's a cheaty bitch trying to get you to lower your weapon so he can stab you in the back. What I am talking about is, you know, the clash between, say, Jorgen Krieg and Gogo Fangs first, where when Gogo is beating Jorgen Krieg upside his idiot head, Jorgen goes, wait a minute, I was wrong, I surrender, don't kill me so I can serve Gaia and fight against the apocalypse by your side. Because I can get over myself for a second.
You should have thought about that before you took arms against Gogo Fangs first.
Well, I mean, really, that example, anyone, I mean, Gogo Fangs.
Yeah, no, you know, That's the thing about, that's a Stargazer. That's a Children of Gaia argument saying, oh, you know what? I changed my mind. I was wrong. You are right. Here, this is my... No. You made a decision. Now follow it through. You made the decision to actually come into, bring it to blows.
So
you decided to bring that to a death fight. If you wanted to have it another way, you could have agreed to different terms in the first place. You could have saying, okay, this is going to first one on the ground. You can go and say this is going to first blood, whatever.
Well, that would be up to the master of the challenge at that point, because that's how that works. That would be up to the master of the challenge. But even still let's remove. Still then, there is always a winner and a loser. Yes,
depending on the circumstances. What kind of scared creature wouldn't go through to the last blow of this fight? If you lose, okay, maybe, but you don't surrender. You don't surrender before you have lost, and you don't lose before you surrender.
Well, you certainly don't surrender before you've lost. But on the other hand, from your point, what kind of asshole is in a position to where he could kill his brother in arms, his cousin, metaphorically speaking, over an issue, and just decide to take that player off the battlefield? And while we're at it, probably to continue family grudges at that point. Continue that circle of in-nation fighting, which is ridiculous and wasteful in the times of the apocalypse.
Maybe somebody who has some rage in himself, some glorious rage.
How about someone with some fucking self-control? Isn't that a little more what we need?
It sounds like what you're suggesting is we need a bit more kumbaya at the fireside.
That was mean. What I'm suggesting is we not murder soldiers over who took the last fucking piece of cheesecake or whatever. That's maybe not a good use.
You are right about that, Porter. The thing is,
really got to stop telling me I'm right during these.
What kind of stupid massive challenge would make a death fight out of taking the last cheesecake?
Well, that guy says, I don't know. He's been hit in the head a lot, but
yeah, that's why you don't make this other room.
All right, I think we gotta move on again.
Oh boy,
this is gonna be fun. Submission to those of higher station.
Go, Porter. You're for this one.
Fuck yeah, I am. We're at war, ladies and gentlemen. There's a war going on.
You haven't said that for every tenant so far.
You know what? Don't need to hear from you.
Peanut gallery.
I gotta do something in this episode.
Fucking Stadler and Waldorf over here.
That's alright. My voice is gotta be heard in this episode somewhere.
Alright. No, obviously. There is a war going on. There is a hierarchy here. We need people in the lead, knowledgeable, strong people to rally the troops. Let's be clear here. The Gyro Nation is a very spiritual society. Absolutely. They are protectors, absolutely, but they are warriors. There is a hierarchy. There's a war going on. You need generals. You need someone at the top to direct the troops. You need the wisdom of your elders. And you cannot effectively fight a battle when you have orders questioned on the fucking regular. You can't have a solid structure. Look at the War of the Amazon. When Gogol Fangs First sends a warg out on patrol, that warg does not go, sir, I don't think I want to. Or wouldn't this be bad for the people, the indigenous people here? Or what about the jobs that Pentex is creating that's good for the economy? No, you shut the fuck up and you do what you're told. And that's the reason the War of the Amazon is going so fucking well.
Sure. Maybe we shouldn't go to some, brilliant strategist like Ogle Fank first and ask Jonas Albrecht about what the thing with his grandfather was. Submitting to those in higher station.
Well, by submitting...
He rather was going drunk in Central Park. You know what the problem on this is? It's kind of the same thing like respecting the other's territory. You know what? This guy, we just have black style dancers running rampant in the street. We are not, that's not our territory anymore. They're not in the higher station. So maybe we should just let them go because some guys over there on the other side said, you know what? We don't kill those vampires because somehow we have a treaty with them. Oh, fuck this. It's the same idea of letting idiots in charge while you go there and actually could do something. Actually, Golgo was a great example for this. Yeah. Once he came to Amazon, he was on a higher station. He didn't submit to Wolf on higher station. He was going there and saying, no, you know what? You're idiots. Let me do this. And he did it to great success.
Gogo thinks versus rank 6. He absolutely is the highest station.
Yeah, now he is. But he wasn't once he came to Amazon.
He totally was, sir.
We have to look this up for another episode. Because I think there was never actually said when he was going for. Yeah, we should take
him off the table.
Oh.
It's kind of funny that we like with every fucking tenant we come up with Golgo for some reason.
He's a badass.
I can switch to the Margrave. It's fine.
Actually, the Margrave is actually a good example. You know, why didn't the Margrave submit to the king?
I thought you were going to say cross the road for a second.
No, the Margrave he's not only not submitting to the king, he is actually subverting him.
Well,
he's creating his own alliance in Europe and actually might, let after the apocalypse come in 20 years. What about if, this submission of the Margrave is actually leading the Garu to a new civil war? What about the Garu in America are going to fight against those in Europe again? Just because there's some shadow lord in Europe thinking he could do the things better than the king.
I mean, he is doing things better than the king. But, to take your point, I would love to be pointed to the passage where Elbricht said, hey, Margrave, don't do that. I don't know where it exists, where the Margrave, is doing what it's, and Elbricht goes, stop being effective and awesome, please. That didn't happen. So, I'm not sure where you're going with that. But, you talk about the quote, idiots in charge. But, doesn't every fucking 20-something think anyone older than 20-something is an idiot? They're antiquated. They don't know what they're doing. There are years and years of strategies and hardened battle experience to weigh on. And the fact of the matter is the Gara Nation doesn't suffer fools gladly. If there's someone who is inept in charge, more often than not, they are taken off the board. Certainly, you have a point with your example, with your morning kill example. But, a broken clock's right twice a day, right?
It does. And still, you say it yourself. Those that don't work will be taken off. Why are they taken off? Because there are people in lower station who actually see where's the problem and take care of that.
Well, the rank 1 is not going to, your average Goliath isn't going to overtake his Council of Elders, but the idiot on the Council of Elders will be taken out by the other members of the Council of Elders. And that's generally how that goes. And I hope
that until it happens, there won't be disaster coming before. There would be that's an interesting anecdote every time for that. There was a game I was actually in there, and I was a rank 1 or rank 2 third. And there was a rank 4 third making horrible accusations about another guy off the cairn. And he was actually telling those people that there are hawks and loons, which, fed him in the information he now presents before the whole cairn and makes a whole mess out of it. And the only reason the low rank couldn't talk up and say, you know what, loons are fucking crazy. Hawks are known for, fucking with you and beating you. What are you talking about? This is bullshit. No, the higher station is just pulling rank. And that's not how effectiveness works. Arguments should be in charge, not rank.
And that's all well and good, in theory, when we're sitting around the campfire and we're hashing out our precious feelings. But what matters, what we're really talking about, is in the battlefield. What matters is the war. You cannot have the Goliath nobody, in his third day as a Garu, all ripped ready to roar to kill the worm, disobeying orders and doing whatever the hell he wants, because when him and his idiot pack go over here to take out the threat that they feel is the right thing, they've fucked it up for everybody else too. It costs lives.
And so does an ineffective leader. You are right to the point when shit hits the fan. When shit hits the fan, Yeah, that's a little bone over here. If that happens, Garu are trained to do this. They are warriors. They fall in line. They will battle the battle that needs to be done.
Yes, and they are because of the hierarchy.
But outside of those situations, arguments and ideas are the things that should work, not the rank.
All right. These are going to take a little longer than I expected them to do, so we're going to go on to the next one.
Oh, it's fine. This is good stuff.
The first share of the kill for the greatest in station.
I have a problem with this one, but that's just personal.
Everybody does, I
So
think.
leave your bias
Everybody
out
does.
of it. Try and leave your bias out of it here, Tom.
Porter gets it.
I'm not friends anymore.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. This comes back to trusting our leaders, trusting the wisdom and experience of our elders. To grant the highest in station, the first of the kill, it's not always to be taken so literally. Certainly it can be as a form of tribute, but then we trust our elders to distribute where things need to be distributed. Certainly, because a Cliath comes home with a grand clave that he managed to finagle through dumb fucking luck, doesn't mean he is best suited to use that clave. Shouldn't we trust in the elders to find that and to pass it into more capable hands, somewhere where it won't inevitably be lost to the enemy again 5 minutes later? Moreover, by doing so, we cut out the infighting. When that cub shows up with that prized fetish that he certainly does not deserve and didn't really earn, we have removed the outside input of other Garu going to take it from him, which only serves to cause more infighting and turmoil among the Sept, to keep Garu pitted against each other instead of focused toward the worm. We must trust in our elders, in their wisdom and in their experience. That is why that tenet is here.
So, if it's so easy to get it, and the Link 1 has not earned it, why didn't the highest in station just go there himself and get the conclave?
Well, that's a weird situation. That's a weird. Like, why would they know it was there?
No, I get what you're saying, but you know what? I
sort of
think
elements.
the greatest in station can handle himself damn well. He does not need to take the toys of those that actually earned them.
No, but we don't give infants
You might want to
handguns.
say it was through luck, but you know what? Luck is stupid. There is no luck. There is just the blessing of Gaia, the blessing of the spirits would actually lead those young warriors in there. On the other side, so you will tell me there's this guy who actually survived. Let's say it was a raid on whatever, and he survived, and he come back with a great fetish that might outrank him. Sure, there might be people that are better suited to wield it if we take it as a collective thing. But he has earned it. He survived it. He got there. He earned the right to keep it. Or what he is going to do? Take it away from him, and you basically can just shove him back to the Black Spiders in the first place. Just take everything of those young fucks and say, "Nah, you don't deserve it. You don't take it." That's me, because I'm the highest in station.
But see, the problem, and there's a few things here, is number one, you brought up that, trusting in Gaia's will, and Gaia's will says first to the kill to the greatest station. So
No, the Litany does.
which came from where? This is Gaia's will, right?
No, it came from a Concord. That's the same thing.
So you're saying Gaia, I don't know, that's I'm not going to confuse the issue here. I'm going to be cool. You talk about the elders shouldn't take said fetish, but you understand that without their intervening, everyone else in that sept is going to be gunning for that same fetish, and there's nothing stopping them from fucking taking it. By trusting in the elders, there is a way where the proper things are given to the people who can make the best use of them. We don't give fucking infants handguns. We don't give them to toddlers because the we don't. I don't know what goes on in the news over there, but we don't do that. A 4-year-old, for example, has no concept of life or death or the damage she could wrought with a handgun, certainly, the same way that a Cliath just handed a Grand Clave that he picked up off the floor because no one else was looking or whatever. He has no idea the power in his hands. He has no idea how to properly use that. Let the elders put that in the hands that it needs to be in. Because we're not talking about the elder taking that and keeping it. What good's it going to do to the Cairn warder who doesn't get to leave the sept? Whose sept has never been attacked by the worm? It just collects dust. That's wasteful. As wasteful as giving it to a fucking newborn cub who's going to, like, pretend he's Conan or something for 5 minutes, bite off more than he can chew, get murdered. No, you give that to maybe the head of the season Guardian pack.
Who has learned it?
Right, and that is the elder making that decision.
Why wouldn't the elder just decide, okay, you know what, there is a prize fetish we know of. Let's get that, and maybe those guys should go in there. Maybe if you would stop just beating down the cubs, because you know what, they're fucking idiots not knowing what they do. They are warriors as well. Maybe instead of, you don't know what you have here, maybe those Guardian pack goes in and says, you know what, now you don't have an idea what to do, but we are going to train you up. You are going, at the end of the day, you're going to be the best one wielding this weapon. Because you got it, there's certainly a reason why you have it. That's why you should keep it, and we train you to use it properly.
You know what? Maybe you're right. But just as you pointed out, that becomes the elder's decision. And it becomes the elder's decision because of that tenet of the litany.
So it's right because the litany says so. The litany, which was created by the elders, which is telling
you presented that scenario that you handed me, sir. I just pointed out how you pointed out that I was right.
It's fine. Obviously, the elder says he's right. That's why he's right. Is the right way to do that. That's how you fight a war, just because he's the elder.
No, trusting in the wisdom and experience of the elders, of the people giving the orders and calling the shots, not just letting shit happen at random.
But was it really random? If it would be random, everybody would be running around with grand claves.
That's not how claves work. Like, there's not a clave farm somewhere, sir.
Okay, we can move on.
For a discussion, why not?
That's a fair question.
That's a different discussion for a different episode.
You send the kinfolk out to harvest the claves once a year.
They grow on stalks.
Yeah, just pull them right from the stalks, get those clave seeds.
Create this meta shock troops.
And they all get claves? Oh boy.
All of them get claves. And just send them to the worm to battle it wherever to peace.
Just march them into Melfi's.
Oh, this is fun shit.
Alright. Ye shall not eat the flesh of humans.
Karybdhus, you're for this one.
Yeah, where's the discussion, honestly? You shall not eat the flesh of humans. They're disgusting. Don't do it.
Alright. Then,
Hey, God damn it.
I'm just kidding.
You know what? Hot dogs are disgusting. They're still tasty. Fucking what do you want?
Yeah, but that's hot dogs,
Well, it's like hot rat and pigeon, and like there's all sorts of shit in those.
Look, there is a reason why eating or not eating the human flesh is a tenet in there. Obviously, there might be a problem with this. In world talking, of course, we don't know that. If we would go out world talking and going through the Apocalypse book, the fall of the Red Talons is actually telling us why we shouldn't do this. But at the end of the day, eating human flesh is, if you're not lupus, it's just eating your brethren. That's just cannibalism. And this is just so inherently evil that you are inviting the worm into yourself. And it's so bad that the Wendigo even had to create a special ritual to get off the worm taint they have there. They lost Sasquatch for this.
Well, allegedly Sasquatch evolved like a Pokemon. So, by that logic, the Wendigo is higher than Sasquatch. That's the evolved version, which would suggest that to get to a higher plane of existence, we need to eat more flesh. But even if we ignore that, you bring up the Wendigo, and the Wendigo certainly aren't evil. In fact, they're some of the fiercest, most loyal warriors of the nation.
Oh,
unless you're a Geta Fenris, you should be afraid of the Wendigo unless you're a Geta Fenris. They are fierce warriors. They serve Gaia. they eat human flesh. They serve a cannibal totem.
Yeah, and they're
Gaia doesn't seem to have a problem with that. Why do you? Why do you think you're better than Gaia?
Why do you actually think you're better than Gaia?
I
Because
don't.
Gaia
I'm following
put a
her.
fucking tenet in there that you should not eat human flesh.
Oh no! Remember the litany was come out by elders back by the Concord. That has nothing to do with Gaia. Remember?
And maybe we should trust the wisdom of those elders to not eat human flesh.
Oh, but I thought they were all morons.
They are.
So we should listen to morons, is what you're telling me.
It's funny how we just, we're just turning ourselves around because those arguments are always the same on the stupid tenants.
Oh my god. Are we pushing that one then?
Oh, when it gets towards the end of these tenants, he's right. They tend to bring up old stuff, so I remember that in our episode.
No,
Yeah.
you shall not eat human flesh. That's a thing. You don't cannibalize yourself.
Unless
Actually,
it's the Wendigo, it's totally cool.
I personally would actually. I think there should be another tenant that actually forbids you from eating wolf flesh as well.
Well, there are the editions where that's in there. What is it? I think it's in revised.
I don't think so.
I think it's in revised.
Could
Like,
be.
wait, I mean, I'm not going to the shelf. Danny's got Werewolf 20 is what we're using. But I agree with you there. Like, it should be wolves and humans.
So, and I mean, there's one thing
So
about all the Pharaoh out there. And I can't tell you why Gaia and her wisdom did it that way, but all the Pharaoh, all the changing breeds share the human form. So somehow there is something about the human form that makes it special.
Delicious, at least. At least by the Gaia-sanctioned totem Wendigo.
Okay, we can move on.
A Gaia sanctioned totem, Wendigo, which is halfway down his way to worm already.
This is going in circles. We're going to move on.
Yeah.
Respect those beneath ye. All are of Gaia.
Porter, you're for this one.
I'm for this one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Figure I'd give you both sides of that book.
That's kind of the same side.
Kind of,
Yeah. All right. We have so many different aspects and facets that make up the world that we live in. From the mighty Garu warrior to the stupid Bastet to, the butterfly just flapping its ass off somewhere in a meadow. All of it is, in fact, of Gaia. And while the Garu are Gaia's fangs, it is important to remember lessons of humility. That we are protectors and not conquerors. It is not our job to sit in judgment and in rules. Surely that can lead to the worm. This isn't about nothing can be hurt. This is about thanking your prey, thanking the hunt, the deer that you killed, thanking it for giving its life. To remember that it's important, that it's part of the grand cycle that is Gaia. It's to do your best, because, look, we're all folk here, and we got rage, but to do your best not to take advantage of the things, the people, the things that you have power over. It's not kicking Cousin Larry's ass just because he kind of bugs you a bit. It's doing your best to hold that urge back for the greater good, which, by the way, could also save us from making a skin dancer one of these days. It is respecting the ecosystem and the circle of life in the way, Gaia's way, the natural way of things. It's not being a bully. It's not always easy to do, but that's why we have that tenet to remind us to strive to be better.
You know what? For this one, I won't even give you a fight because this one is just right.
Well, there you go.
This one is actually right. And Garu are the ones who are actually ignoring it the most.
And you sure handed out the wrong sides on that one. I mean, I'll take it.
I'm just doing
Thank you, sir.
I'm just doing it at random at this point. I'm like doing an eeny,
Yeah, he's doing it random. No, the thing is, should we tolerate criminals? No. But can we kill them with respect? Yes. Should we tolerate those litany breakers around us? Should we tolerate the Bastet? You know what? The war of rage.
Bastet are taking a beating today. It's cool.
The war of rage was there because the Garu ignored this one.
Potentially and allegedly, but I'm with you.
And by doing so, they might have dealt the heart is the strongest blow against Gaia. A deeper cut than the worm ever could.
Let's pour one out for the grounder real quick, everybody.
Nice.
Our
On to the next one,
foresight
then.
saviors.
On to the next one, then. The veil shall
If you
not
know-
be lifted. Oh, sorry, Karybdhus, what do you got?
No, it's just a thing. You can respect your enemy. You don't. You're still the enemy. You're still understanding where the problem is. You're still understanding that he's somebody or she's somebody that needs to be put down because of he's a fucking worm creature. If you're not able of seeing respect in Gaia's creations, you're not respecting yourself.
I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. So now we'll move on. The veil shall not be lifted.
You're for this one, Karybdhus?
I mean, where's the discussion? The veil shall not be lifted. There's.
You'll find out.
There were, there's a reason the veil was created. The Garu in their Imperium did not uphold the veil. And those fucking monkeys came pretty close once they realized what Silver does to Garu, of killing off the Garu, or at least having big problems. What not keeping up this tenet, what was actually, at the end of the day, drove humans into cities. It was what gave them, in their plea of help to the Weaver, the veil shall not be lifted. Do you know what's going to happen if 7 billion mutant monkeys understand what's around them and they can make silver bullets in automatic weapons? This is just the end times. Double it. You think the worm is a problem? Let the humans go loose.
I'm hearing the things you're saying. And I mean, obviously, we know that the problem in terms of the Impersium and in the end of that, driving the humans into cities, wasn't because of the veil. It was because the other shifting breeds got uppity. But, and distracted the Garu from keeping the Impersium and keeping the humans out of those damn cities. However, with the way things are going with the end times, we have to consider all the different aspects. You say, what's gonna, can you imagine what the apes could do once they learn the Garu were real? They could manufacture silver bullets. But here's the thing: why would we be so sloppy? Is to make a big announcement? Do you think that the Garu deciding to throw the veil away would be like throwing a parade? Certainly, tactical. If we were to run that veil, we're also talking about the Impersium here. I mean, honestly. Because, yes, the humans would have to be dealt with. So what we're really talking about is reinstating the Impersium. So in which case, certainly there would be tactical strikes. I mean, if no one's there to see this small town getting eradicated at the dead of night, there's no one to know that it was the Garu.
But there, satellites, there will be people to know. We are not in the 1800s anymore. We are not in the fucking Roman Empire.
And yet
you can't
we're still
eradicate a
protected
city
by
and
the delirium.
think there won't be. You can't have packs running loose and expect there's no asshole with a cell phone actually filming this.
Sure, but
This is going to end up at YouTube.
it possibly could. And in fact,
And I think
it
we'll have
inevitably
better
will. But that's the delirium. Will help shield that. And so I guess thank fuck for the Impersium for creating the delirium.
There will be some people that are affected by the Imperium, but there will be people that are not.
Most people will be affected.
And
a very, very
what?
small margin won't be, and we call those people crazy.
You know what? Actually, the delirium is a pretty good reason to uphold the veil. Because just imagine a world where the veil is lifted, and you have actually Pantex creating media stations and telling you know what? Those delirium things you have, those catatonic effects you have, this is because of fucking evil creatures running around slaughtering you day and night everywhere. This will be just fuckfest. You are just going to drove humanity into the worm's hands by this.
Imagine a world where True Silverheels or Celeste Snowtop holds a press conference and says, we are children of Gaia, literally and figuratively. And we are here to help reduce your carbon footprint. We are here to help save the world and return nature to her glorious bounty, as so many of you also want. And we are here to show you a way of life that will make things better. We could show you this way. We are here in peace, and we are the enemies of the things that want to destroy this world. join us, friends. Join us on the side of the angels, so to speak.
I'm so surprised that you could say that in a straight face. I don't want to see your face right now, Potter. Yeah, sure. And now battle those videos about Garu, losing their rage and just going rampant about a city and killing kindergarten.
Well, those videos don't exist yet, so I can't really respond to something that hasn't happened.
But they will exist, and if they don't exist yet, you know what? Pantex will create them. And they will tell all the world. Because at the end of the day, you know what? Your savior here, I don't want to even be on the same street side than him. He's a fucking murderer. He's just, sitting there shaking and watching the Cosby Show.
Nice cut. Good God. Ooh, that's a hell of a reference. I'm very pleased. I'm a little flattered, actually.
A little flattered, yeah.
But, certainly we don't, and especially this day and age, we don't blindly trust corporations. We know better than that. So when, well, maybe not Silent Fist that wins. Tim Rowantree. Silent Fist that wins is a bad spokesman. When Tim Rowantree comes out and says, look, this is Otali Burger, these are their practices. Who's society going to believe? The evil mega corporation? Or our brand new furry friends who preach equality and stop it. And the preservation of nature. Danny is distracting me.
Nope. Nope.
Look, you can't even. You can't even. Look.
I totally can, but Danny was distracting me.
I don't know what he's
Just
talking about.
violently shaking his head no, trying not to laugh, and it was not
What
fair.
was happening is Jamie Alder was suing McDonald's. Did anybody actually stop McDonald's? No, they don't. Yeah, sure, Kurt said, yeah, he's right. That's not even meat that they are putting on your burgers. People still eat that. They don't care.
Many people don't, but there are protests all over the place. There are people, people care about the environment. They care about a better tomorrow. And the children of God, the Garu Nation can provide that. They come in peace, motherfucker. Listen to Tim Rowantree and Celeste Snowtop. Listen to Evan Heals the Past, I guess. And
watch Golgo murder your, people in there cutting trees.
He is in the Amazon trying to stop Pentex's carbon footprint.
Yeah. What about this old lady who's nowadays the
Mother Larissa? She's a dual old person who is trying to help the downtrodden in Central Park.
I think we have to move on, guys. I think we gotta push it.
Yeah, we're pushing Porter
Yeah.
to repeating himself because he's not even believing himself.
Tom, you got your answer on that one?
I already wrote down who won that one.
Okay, alright. Do not suffer thy people to tend thy sickness.
I'm calling it audible. You get to choose this time, Danny.
Oh.
Just because his character is the one without the arm?
Yes, that's exactly why.
I figured it was gonna happen. Karybdhus, you're for it.
Okay. Look, if you're going in there, and because because you're not up to it, because your pride is actually stalling yourself from taking yourself out of a battle position or whatever, and you're going to have your people getting killed because you're not able. This is a fucking problem. We are in a war, if you didn't remember it. We are in the end times. We can't have people have their pride blind them and have good warriors die because they put themselves into positions and get other people killed for them not being able anymore. Does this mean every cripple has to die? Sure not. No. There are a few good characters, there are a few good people that are actually very able, even with injuries, even with battle scars. I mean, there is, like, Jaeger, who's actually quite capable without an arm. But he beat himself up to get there. Because surely, if he would actually have been a liability to his pack, it would have been in his own best interest to get in a different role. We don't have to kill everybody who can't be in the front anymore. We need people in the backfield as well. But you should not have your people die because you are not able to put up your weight anymore.
I feel like you were just making my argument there. I didn't Dreamweaver out, right? I'm anti this tenant.
Yes.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I
So
agree.
when you actually, it's funny because I can bring the same argument for both sides.
You know, I mean, the fact of the matter is, yes, there's a war going on. Exactly. Certainly, Jaeger, as an example, doesn't really apply. Jaeger can feed himself. He can hunt. He can still walk on two legs. He can still fight with one arm. Doesn't apply to him. You know, where it does apply is maybe closer to somewhere like Nathaniel Owens.
Uh-huh.
Or even to go more extreme, that Garu who lost his legs and arms in some unfortunate battle in the Amazon. Someone who can't take care of himself anymore. You know, and of course the Litany would have that Garu kill himself for the greater good. Or be put down if he couldn't. I mean, that's what the Litany teaches us. But I would argue that without arms and legs, well, surely that Garu could still talk to spirits. Surely he could still pass on knowledge. And yes, it would be a burden on the nation to have to clothe and feed him and change his fucking diaper. But certainly we can get some kinfolk for that, right? We don't have to waste precious soldiers playing nursemaid. We have kinfolk to play nursemaid. In fact, they can go to medical school and learn how to do that professionally. So they can provide for the nation and use, looking at that tenant, in defiance of that tenant that would just woefully and wastefully end Garu lives. They can instead send those kinfolk to better themselves and learn medical training that can help other Garu down the line as well, can bring in much needed money to the nation.
So you're saying they shall not, suffer their people to tend their sickness, because they should make themselves useful.
That they have uses outside of just being shock troops, yeah. And they're not, again, and I'm saying they're not a burden on the nation if we just have the kinfolk do it. And again, we can enrich the kinfolk's lives that way. They'll make more money, right. They'll have a good career, they can, they can help financially support the nation, and they can use those medical skills to help other Garu who aren't as bad off as well. Everybody wins, and everybody gets to live. Why do you got a problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem if you make my argument. I don't have a problem with you saying, yes, this Garu is still useful, that's why he shall not die, but he's not suitable to be in a battling position, that's why you should find other things to do. And at one point, you're in a war, you can't waste resources on people that are not useful to the nation. So find uses for them. You don't have to kill the guy who can actually talk to spirits, who can actually be, or maybe he's a high-ranking get offenders who actually has my personally favorite gift of glory scars and just don't care that he doesn't have any legs because if he's activating, he has them back. But he actually, and again, made himself useful. He did not let his people tend his sickness. He actually is still valuable for the nation.
I mean, yes. But that's my point.
I think there's confusion.
I think there is.
I think there is. I think the problem here, and now that's the meta talk. I think the problem here is that how do you look at this tenant and say, okay, what is actually needed for the nation? If you look on a straight battle perspective, this tenant gets a bit way closer. But for example, let's say Jaeger couldn't have gone out there and fight anymore the way he did before. Would he actually, Danny, because it's your character, maybe you can answer this. Would Jaeger be just so proud standing in the front line and get somebody else die? Would he go out there and have bring himself in a situation where Ghost would have to risk his life just because he was too proud to step down and say, you know what, I have to find other ways, other things to do?
Oh no. As a get, I would just go out swinging, no, I'm going to die. It's just a sacrifice play.
So any good Garu would find a way to make himself the most use out of his own things. There might be a Metis who is crippled, but has a great mind. So put him in a position where he can use this mind.
But I mean, sure. I mean, we're off the thing here. To be pro that tenant is where's your argument to why it's a good thing that those Garu take themselves off the fucking.
No, it's a good thing to have them know their place. To have them know, okay, I can't have this position anymore. I should not have my people suffer and tend to my sickness because I just want to be here. I should know, okay, this is not my place anymore. I have to find a new place.
But the tenant suggests that the guy in question takes himself off the fucking map. This is, my people need to provide for me. I can't take care of myself, so I should do the correct thing and kill myself.
Yeah, there's the problem with the interpretation of this tenant. And I think one of the problems here will also be in the tribes, because as we all know, the tribes have different opinions on the tenants. Some of them just ignore some of those tenants. Yeah, like this whole stupid surrendering, which no good cat would actually accept. The problem here is if we're looking at it on a traditionalist, loyalist thing of we're still in a constant battle and we can't have anybody else but warriors in here because every other job is just kinfolk job, or if it's more inclusive thinking of okay, we can't all be warriors. We need people in the backfield as well to provide for us. And then you have to think, okay, is this just kinfolk work or is this also werewolf work for those werewolves who can't be in the battlefield anymore? Maybe, this happening like never. A werewolf was getting too old and actually starting to die down. Sure, 200, 300 years ago, probably they just would go out in the wild and, get killed. Or maybe they realized, my knowledge is going to die with me. I should pass that on to the next generation.
Sure, that's just certainly the argument here.
Well, let's move on.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. The leader may be challenged at any time during peace.
Karybdhus, you're for this one.
That's a different one. That's actually a difficult one. Because does that mean everybody who is going in there, getting himself into a position of leadership, and always has to fear there's somebody coming and taking it from him? Surely it would be a great idea to have those people that actually are able to create a peacetime to let them lead. And there might be, and maybe my problem of this is the at any time part of this. There should be situations, there should be times at moods, for example, where you can challenge the leader for leadership. But just, walking around say, we're not fighting at this moment. I will going to challenge you. Yeah, you idiot, but in 3 hours there will be a battle. So, you can't do this now and disrupt the whole hierarchy thing. Yeah, but now is peace and now we can fight.
Christ.
It's a tough one, man.
It is.
I think I had to rebuttal this one. This one's hard.
Just going to switch it for the next one. So.
I know.
Okay.
All meta talking, some of those are just, not very good there.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
some of those tenants are just like, yeah, you're repeating yourself, man.
Well, and some of them are, again, with the meta, it's hard to disagree with, but got a job to do. So, the ability to reevaluate leadership and to vie for it, to strive to be a better leader than the ones you have, those are good things. Not every leader is a great leader. Not every leader is a good leader. There are corrupt leaders. There are stupid leaders. And there's nothing wrong. Certainly there should be a way to challenge that.
Sure, there is a way.
But to say...
At the right time, in the right place, and that place is the mood, and not any time.
But to say during peacetime is such a vague sentiment. When is peacetime? There's a war going on. You could argue that there is no peace right now. At the same time, my esteemed opponent here mentions a time and a place is a boot, and that's absolutely true. There should be a time and a place to challenge for leadership, not just some vague peacetime. We're not actively fighting. So now is the time. This also, with a structure that way, with the ability to just challenge someone for leadership, whenever there's not actively a combat going on. This doesn't necessarily promote a better quality of leadership. Surely this just promotes the biggest lunkhead who can bench the most. Maybe that, it's peacetime. So I'm going to challenge you, not because I deserve to be in charge, or not necessarily because you shouldn't be in charge, but just because I want it. Certainly there should be better checks and balances and a better structure than just peacetime.
So you're giving me my point. That's fine for me. Thank you.
I don't think that is what happened. You're pro-peacetime, sir.
I am pro-peacetime. I am pro-peacetime the main problem is, do we really? Fuck it. I have totally misunderstood this thing.
Yeah, I was going to say.
My mind was going on the leader may not be challenged during wartime. I'm sorry, guys. I really do.
That's all right. It's next.
Yes, I just spoke my mind, and I was giving you yourself. No, okay.
You did have a bow on it.
Let me get my mind back, because it's later here for me, and it was a long day, so I'm sorry for that. Let me get that again.
All right.
Because actually, I think standing both sides is a good thing for a storyteller to hear. Because as a storyteller, you have to have like 20 characters, and all of them have different opinions on the litany.
Right.
So my real answer to this question is actually, this rule isn't just, that's just not a law. That's just a reminder to challenge the weak. This is a reminder to see a weak leader and to get rid of him.
Or it's an opportunity for some lunkhead to take advantage of a situation and take over.
And then I think if the leader is actually capable and good in this place where he is, he will beat the challenge and stay a leader. And if he's a strong leader and a good leader, that's what should happening. But if he's weak, if he's foolish, if he shouldn't be in charge, if there's no reason to keep the hierarchy in charge, challenge this person. And sometimes a fucking second too late is a second too late. Maybe there is somebody who gets, because he's old, because he's crazy, he's getting confused of one of those bazillion medallions of the lone silent silver fangs running around, who's actually in fact worm tainted, but he's telling all the people that he's actually an ambassador.
Tells how you really feel, damn.
And there's a leader who's getting deceived and bringing the cairn to destruction, to trauma, to the apocalypse. You should challenge those people.
Well, and again, there's nothing wrong with challenging leadership. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have someone better or smarter, someone stronger or whatever in charge. There's nothing wrong with those things. But you say that the tenet isn't really like a law, it's just more like a reminder. That's interesting that this would be the only tenet ever that is just like a little friendly reminder and not like a law. That's weird.
I didn't say it's no law. It isn't just a law. It's more than that. It's a law and a reminder that you shall challenge the weak. If we want to bring him up again, because I love him so much, Golgol didn't wait to take leadership of the Amazon. He just was going in there and took it.
Golgol got pulled from the table. You can't use Golgol.
Yeah, he was pulled.
I have this card sitting here in front of me. I can have him every time I want.
Wow.
I think that is a...
Refs.
I think that means we're skipping to the next one now.
Yeah, we'll just move on.
Oh.
The leader may not be challenged during wartime.
Just keep it at the same thing. Karybdhus gets this one too. As the pro.
I get this one.
As the pro.
Of course, the leader shall not be challenged during wartime. It's the war. You can't just disrupt your whole hierarchy. Ever happen? There's this great saying in the US of saying you don't change your horse in the middle of the race.
I don't think that is a saying in the US.
I don't know. I've heard this quite often. Actually, it's on there like every second presidential thing in one of those. No, you don't. Change your horse half the way.
See, the problem with what you're saying here is that a warrior, a soldier, even a commander, being in command doesn't necessarily make you right. I mean, it's interesting to hear you flip-flop on the hierarchy issue. But there are situations where a leader, perhaps due to combat trauma or stress or injury or just incompetence, will keep a stranglehold on a group, on a pack, on a sept, under the auspices, under the bullshit of, hey, it's wartime, so you can't challenge me. You look to larger battlegrounds like the Amazon, how many wargs were out there pinned down by a Pentex first team following orders from someone who just couldn't handle his shit when it came down to it. And his orders get people killed because he can't be challenged in the thick of it. How many military mistakes are made by people panicking and no one's allowed to question those orders?
How many little Clive idiots think they actually would know what's best in a big war thing? How many, trench grunts can see the big picture of a war needs to be won?
And sure, that's a point you can bring up. But at the same time, there's a line. There is a point to where, the Silver Fang says, burn that village. Fuck the humans, burn the village. There's a Fimor in there, and he's got a thing, and we don't know which hut. Kill everybody there. There's a point to where your Bone Gnar, or your Stargazer, or your Shadow Lord, or your Geta Fenris says, what the fuck are you talking about? We're not just culling innocent lives like that. Just because you said so.
So you would have the Fomor just go away.
No, I would have a
because
competent commander say, hey, let's use Sense Worm and narrow this shit down.
Sure, but you can't.
Hey, Fengi, shift to Krenos and run through the fucking village and we'll see the one that doesn't freak out and piss themselves. That's probably our guy. Maybe that should happen before we firebomb the place.
Sure. And that's the thing you can do. This
Not if you can't challenge the guy in wartime.
No. You can't challenge it.
That's some armchair quarterback Monday morning shit.
That does not mean you can't let him know that there are problems with the orders he gives.
Right, but if the guy in charge says, fuck you, I'm in charge, do what you're told, isn't there a moral obligation at some point there?
What moral obligation? You are in a war. You are not fighting for some silly village over there.
You heard it first. Kill all the babies because your leader said so.
Yeah, sure. I'm German here.
That was good.
All right. I think that's time for the last one then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ye shall take no action that causes a cairn to be violated. Hit 'em, Tom.
Portier for this one.
Okay. As time has gone on, the Garu Nation has lost so much ground. Again, I don't want to shock anyone. The apocalypse is nigh. The end times are coming. We know this. We've said it over and over again through the course of these little debates. And there is no debate that there shouldn't be, certainly, that every single cairn is precious. There are so few of them left. There are so few strongholds, so many potent places of Gaia where the totems can thrive, where the Garu can collect their strength and train and come together, that the loss of even one more is a tragedy. And it's a shame onto the entire nation. The idea of even entertaining an action that would compromise these sacred spots is just unthinkable. It's abhorrent to the highest level.
Actually, this is... You don't battle this one. You shall not take an action that causes a cairn to be violated, because this is like the worst thing you could do. This is above all those other tenants of those... where is the debate? And I can't see a single werewolf debating this one.
It's the same answer I had.
No, because, look, this is like... Porter, would you go against this one? With what argument?
Sometimes sacrifices have to be made for the end times. No one is advocating that letting a cairn fall is a good thing, but there are situations, there are times when we simply have to cut our losses and move on. Now, obviously, you want to fight to the last man. You want to fight to the last man to preserve a cairn. Obviously that. They're that important. But when doing so causes undue death and undue loss onto the nation, sometimes we have to bite the bullet and understand that sacrifices have to be made. Sometimes you have to cut off the arm to save the rest of the body, the infection. It's not something we should be happy about. It's not something we should like to talk about, but it's something that sometimes has to happen. Am I willing to sacrifice 100 Garu for a cairn that is already going to fall? No, I'm not. I will open the moon bridges. I will call for a retreat to send those Garu to other seps, to rally troops, to live to fight another day. And I hate the idea of having to lose that cairn in the process, but I also understand that we have a war to win, and we cannot win it by needlessly flushing Garu lives down the toilet. That'd be my argument.
Which is a good argument, but why can't you just burn down the cairn in the first place? You know you're losing it, burn it down. And then it's not violated.
I mean the worm's going to take care of that. I mean, that's an argument on the definition of the word violate at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could argue unless a spiral sticking his dick in the dirt, it doesn't count. I don't know what.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, that's just a semantics issue at that point, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those problems in many of those tenants. Sometimes it's just a small word. It's just the wording which makes it strange.
Which is what makes it so much fun when people like you and I get together to fight about it.
Yeah.
Because you can take that one word and you can run with it.
Yep.
That happened a bit today.
Yeah, yes it did.
And,
almost every single
yeah,
one.
and I mean, I would totally agree with the part of sometimes you have to make losses and, to save the rest. But you can always just take this thing down, burn it down, close it down, and so it doesn't get violated. It doesn't. This whole
I mean, you can't go hold on, worm. The cairn's closed. You can't.
Time out.
Yeah.
Look, a good water would have created it safe.
Or like have red light, green light powers.
Yeah. Look, if I would be in charge,
show me that gift.
Let's just imagine
Intimidation.
you have a cairn. Have a situation, have a possibility to actually, if this thing, or if this cairn is even remotely close to losing, to get lost, have a fail-safe to destroy it.
Well, and that's
Make
fine.
burned earth.
But 6-1 at that point, because you're still losing the cairn.
Yeah, but you're not getting violated, so the tenant is still in charge.
But again, this is where semantics come into play, because no matter what, you're still losing that cairn, whether it's whether it's being possessed, where it's being taken by the worm, or it's being scorched earth, it's still not a cairn anymore.
Yeah, but you can come back, cleanse it again.
Oh, theoretically, you could do it if the worm takes it too. In fact, you'll need those 100 or so garu to reclaim it.
Ooh.
Sure, and you can just burn it down and deny the enemy the resources he would actually have gotten out there.
Well, yeah, but the fact of the matter is the worm doesn't need pure land to make a fucking hive. They need a hole and balefire. And they can bring the balefire.
Actually, we could talk about like how half of those tenants are a thing 500 years ago and not so much today. I
mean, you could go that angle, and maybe you should have in some of those. I don't know what.
Yeah, I think becoming a glasswalker is changing my mind on many things.
Wait, all right. Well, I mean, we hit all the tenants. You guys each had your own thoughts of goods and bads and pros and cons. Are there any you guys kind of want to maybe touch on that you didn't like what you had to say and you want to go the other way?
Oh, there were quite a few ones, which I'm on definitely on the other side, like the Metis one. Okay. I'm totally against this tenant because this tenant's just stupid.
For me, I don't want to say I don't care because there's an implication behind that.
Right.
But I was fine with either way for the most part.
Well, you can play the Philodox really well.
Right.
Especially with Jude, but you can also you have your ways of arguing each one of them as well. So.
Exactly. And it's funny is playing Jude helped with that because, in his early, he's still working on him.
Yeah.
The idea of, the Shadow Lord Philodex, was great because it's like, well, how do I get... I started, in my head, finding a way to use the Litany to debunk the Litany.
It's a good way of doing it.
How can I get a yes from 4 no's? So, it didn't matter which side you gave me. I had an argument ready no matter what. Or at least...
In your head.
Yeah.
How Shadow Lordy of you.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's how he was able to progress Jude.
Oh, yeah. I can see it.
Yeah, it was a fun experiment, Use the Litany to debunk the Litany. How can I use following the Litany to get whatever I want?
And you can't do this with most of those tenants anyway. Because half of them
surprised.
is either repeating itself or is just, standing against itself.
Well, again, sometimes that battle is one on semantics.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's one on double talk, or not the strength of my argument, but the strength of which I dismantle your argument.
Which you already do, just in life in general.
I think it's very funny that, for example, if you look at the Glasswalkers, the Glasswalkers are just renaming some of those tenants because they realize how stupid this is nowadays.
No, it's it's its own thing, and yeah, I mean, obviously every tribe has its stance on it. But this has been a blast.
That was a lot of fun. There's a lot of holding back some laughs to keep the show going.
Mm-hmm.
So, do we get to know who won?
I want the audience to let us know who they think won. I know who won. I've kept tallies.
Okay, do I get to hear later?
You'll get to hear later.
Yeah, you'll hear later. I'm sure we'll tell Karybdhus.
But I would like the audience to take their votes.
That would be great. You guys, let us know. There's the Discord. The email, rageacrosspodcast@gmail.com, which we have not said in forever. But
We haven't?
no, but it's
It's in the show notes.
Yeah, it's in the show notes. It's
Yeah.
on the website. You guys can figure it out. But, you could hit us on the forums, which we have not talked about in forever. Those are still there.
And on the Discord, when
And what's
this airs,
the
I will
homepage?
actually start a poll for this on who you think won.
Nice. So there'll be a
Okay.
Discord poll. And yes, to answer your question, Karybdhus, the website is rageacrosstheinternet.com.
That's all I wanted to hear.
He wanted to hear it.
I needed it so much.
It's like the only person to ever say that,
Yeah, right.
besides us three.
Again, brother, I'm so glad we were able to get you for the show. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, it was a blast. I'm definitely up for being more here if my time schedule is actually working with me.
That would be fantastic.
Because we have some shows coming up.
Yes, we do.
Could definitely use an extra voice here or there, so.
You are always welcome. You know that.
Oh, I hope so. And I'm always glad to be here.
In the meantime, however, that is our time for the week. So we want to, again, thank Karybdhus for joining us. And on behalf of him, of Danny, Tom, and myself, we want to thank you guys for listening, for all your support. We want you to take care of yourselves, take care of each other, keep your claws sharp, head on swivel. We'll see you.